Have you ever wondered how to properly evaluate real accessibility to services and facilities within a territory? Understanding how far people can actually travel, whether on foot or by car, is essential for urban analysis, planning, and informed decision making. What are you going to learn today? In this video, learn how to use Surface Area function from the Network Analyst extension in ArcGIS Pro, exploring two different analytical approaches. We'll work with polygons and lines using different facilities to analyze the coverage of sports facilities and supermarkets. Throughout the tutorial, you'll see how to build and interpret service areas for two travel modes, walking and driving, and understand how these choices directly affect the results of our analysis. By the end of the video, you'll have a solid foundation to apply service area analysis in accessibility studies, urban planning, and spatial decision making. Let's start by doing the catalog pan under view so we can see what we're going to use. Here in the folders directory I had already created a connection to my folder. And here we have the network analysis tutorial, and inside it we have the feature dataset info with person, sports, streets and supermarket, as well as junctions and a network dataset already created from the model. If we go here to the network dataset properties, we can see some details. Here in travel attributes, for example, we can see that we have two travel attributes, one for car travel and another for walking. For car travel, we have length as the impedance in kilometers, and then we also have time car and time walking in minutes. We also have here for the car travel mode the restrictions related to one-way traffic. We also have the created costs, time car, time walking, and length based on the geometry shape and on the corresponding attribute table fields. The one-way restriction is also linked to the attribute table, but only for the car travel mode. In other words, we can see that for walking it's not selected, since we don't have roads where walking is prohibited. For example, motorways, it doesn't make sense to apply this restriction to this travel mode. Before we start, there is one very important thing to do. It's advisable to always have the network dataset in the project, even if the checkbox is not enabled. It's important that it's present in the project, otherwise what will happen when we run our analysis, I can even remove it from here. But if we click on analysis and then on network analysis and choose service area, if we then don't have our network dataset inside the project in the table of contents, the software won't be able to connect to this network. What it does instead is connect to its internal network, and this causes us to spend credits. For those who have an ArcGIS Pro account, and I think they all work like this, each credit spent represents money that will later need to be topped up so we can have those credits again. So in this example, I'm going to show everything using my own network. In fact, all the projects I work on, I use the networks that I've created myself or networks created by others that I can adapt, edit or improve depending on the specific requirements for each project. Once we have our service area layer here, if we select it and want to run it, these cloud icons appear, which say solve the active network analysis layer. Solving this network analysis layer consumes ArcGIS Pro credits. So if we don't want to consume credits, we need to import our own network dataset into the project. I have never used Esri's network dataset, but I believe it's a very well detailed network. But in this example, we are going to use ours. With the network dataset imported, we can hide it by unchecking it here, and if we come up here after having the service area layer selected, we go up here. Okay, the software is still recognizing the previous network, so let's repeat the process by deleting the service area layer and opening it again so that we can associate it with our own network. Okay, we now have our service area layer here, just like before, but now, as we can see, the software is already associated with our own network. There are three important things we need to pay attention before creating the network. These three fields here in the travel settings tab. First, never forget to choose the intended travel mode. In this case, we have car car and walking. Second, the direction, whether it's towards the facilities or away from facilities. In our case, this will only be important for the car travel mode, since restrictions can affect the final result of traveling to or from a facility. And finally, the cut-off field is where we set the brakes we want for the result when we click run. I haven't checked yet, but let's imagine that the chosen impedance is distance in kilometers. These values 1, 2 and 5 will then represent kilometers, so this network could search and calculate how far the network extends to a distance of 1, 2 and 5 kilometers from each facility. By clicking on properties or on this area in travel settings, we can see which impedance is selected and change it if necessary. In travel mode for walking, we have length as the impedance, meaning that the values represent 1, 2 and 5 kilometers. In this case, we will have 3 classes. So here we have length, but we could easily change it to time car or time walking. However, since we are analyzing walking, it doesn't make sense to look at the time it takes to travel by car to the facilities. So we'll use distance length. And we are going to change the values here to 1, 2 and 3 kilometers. I'll set it to 3 because as I know the area is very small, I know that 5 kilometers will extend beyond the represented area. In this example, we are going to use polygons to represent the service area of each facility, and in the next example, I'll choose lines and explain in which situations I use one instead of the other. Another thing I like to do here is change this option to dissolve, and between standard or high precision, I invite you to try both and see which result you prefer. This slightly changes the visualization of the data, but in the end, the result is essentially the same. I think everything is okay, so let's click run. So we got an error here, and I already understand what it was. I forgot to specify which features are the facilities. Obviously, without that, the software doesn't know where the analysis should start from. So let's click here to import the facilities. We're going to use sports, since they are areas that are more evenly distributed across the map. When importing the facilities, the cutoff went back to its initial value, so I'll set it again to 3 instead of 5. Before we carry on, if this tutorial is helping you so far, make sure to subscribe and drop a like. It's the best way to support the channel. Now yes, let's click run. This time it's going to work. We already have the facilities on the map, which are these green circles. Earlier, when I decided to change the value from 5 to 3 kilometers, I had very reason to do so, since the maximum distance we have doesn't even reach 3 kilometers, as we can see from the largest result, which is approximately 2.7 kilometers. I'm just going to change the color of the 3 classes so everything isn't green and the results are easier to analyze. The first one actually it can stay the same. This one I'm going to choose yellow, and the last one will be like an orange, or it could be this orange. So let's take a look at what these 3 classes mean. Let's recap 2 things. The chosen impedance was length in kilometers for the walking travel mode. In this case, in green, we have the locations that are at the walking distance of less than 1 kilometer. In yellow, the areas between 1 and 2 kilometers. And in red, the areas between 2 and 3, or in this case, between 2 and 2.7, since 2.7 is the maximum distance in the kilometers of the data we have. It doesn't matter which facility it is. The analysis is always calculated to the nearest facility. Looking at the red point, we can see that none of the people are within less than 1 kilometer of a sports facility, 8 are between 1 and 2, and the remaining 2 people are at a distance of more than 2 kilometers. Earlier I mentioned that depending on the projects I'm working on, I decide whether to represent a service area using polygons or lines, and I'll now explain how I distinguish between the two results. As you can see here, this area is quite small, so in real projects for an area like this I will probably represent it using lines, not because it's better or worse than polygons, but simply due to personal preference. On the other hand, if the area is large, I always use polygons since they are easier to analyze. Another thing I don't like to see when the areas are very small is that the polygons, as you can see here, look very straight and rigid, almost as if they were manually drawn in a vector editing exercise, when we know that's not the case. But in the end, preferences are preferences. Let's hide this result and create a new service area layer. This time I'm going to use the supermarkets as the facilities, choose car as the travel mode, and represent the result using lines just as I mentioned seconds ago. I'm just going to move this up a bit so we can also analyze this. Let's import the green facilities, the supermarket, just to be different, and we'll make a small change here. We already have cars selected, and in this case it actually makes sense to choose toward facilities or away from facilities, since we have elements in this travel mode that can lead to different results depending on the direction. I'm going to choose toward facilities in this case, and let's check the cutoff and see what we have as the impedance. Okay, we still have the length, just like in the first analysis, but now let's change it to time car in minutes. In other words, the analysis will show us the time it takes to reach the supermarkets in this study area. I'd like to remind you that these travel times were calculated beforehand, before starting the video. We are going to analyze it for 1, 2 and 3 minutes, and as I mentioned earlier, we'll change the output from polygons to lines. We'll keep overlap enabled for a reason that I'll explain in a moment. Here in the summary icon we can enable the fields we want to appear in the attribute table, which can be very important for later analysis. Everything is set, so let's click run and see the result. So here we have our result. Since it's in lines, I'll open symbology, choose graduated colors and select the field to cumul underscore time underscore car from the attribute table. I'll change it to 10 classes and use the equal interval and apply a green to red gradient. Just a reminder that these values are now in minutes. This time, since there are locations that are more than 3 minutes away from the nearest supermarket, there are gray roads that were not included in the analysis. Remember that earlier in the surface area layer I left the overlap option enabled. So what's the issue with that? Actually, it's not really an issue. It always depends on the type of analysis each person wants to perform. By leaving overlap enabled, I'm telling the software that I want to run the analysis for each facility individually, rather than in a generalized way like we did earlier with the polygons. That's why we can see red lines here, even though they are practically on top of the supermarket. These lines correspond to facility number 1, which appears in the attribute table. Essentially, there are 2 more identical lines underneath this one, each with a different attribute, one for each facility. In other words, if you want to visualize the data for each facility individually, you either have to export the data separately or separate each one by time and by facility. So how can we do an exercise identical to the previous one, where we analyze everything at once regardless of the facility? Let's go back to the service area layer, choose split instead of overlap and see the result. Okay, now notice how different the result is. This time we have much more green near the supermarkets and red as we move further away, just like in the first exercise. But now represented with lines for supermarkets in minutes and using car travel. Personally, for visualization purposes, I almost always prefer to represent my results like this, except in specific cases where it makes more sense to represent each facility separately, which sometimes does happen. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment what you want to learn next.